Greetings, infinite blessings, and welcome to another moment of now and another episode of modern day mindfulness. We're currently working through the 5 steps to freedom, the 5 steps to approach any situation or event with, which will allow you to separate attachment from them and accept them as they are. So today is step number 4. Accreditation or learnings. Last week we looked at association. The first step is acknowledgement, then acceptance. You acknowledge something is blocking your path, you accept it is blocking your path, and then you look at how to approach the situation or look at it from an alternative perspective. Then we learn from it. We learn from it from the first person view, from the egoic perception, and from the higher perspective. As any time we separate attachment or ownership over something, we're able to see a broader horizon of a conclusion or outcome. What affects you personally. To somebody else, doesn't matter. It's only your egoic perception and desire to experience something separate to that which you're experiencing that creates suffering. To accept everything in completion as it is to live in a state of enlightenment. So, those of you that are not yet aware or that are new to the channel, my name is Kain Stromberg, the Cosmic Surfer. I am a spiritual teacher, inner completion master, and mental health and mindfulness expert. I have gone on a lifetime journey, inwards and outside, experienced a multitude of situations and events. I've lived a very colourful life, and I've done a lot of very deep and powerful inner work, which is why I am able to bring you the information that I do. Today is all about modern day mindfulness. It is a new series that is going to be more extensive in the actual length of each video, specifically whilst we are covering these 5 steps. All of these 5 steps are the 5 steps that are included in the 5 Steps to Freedom online course, and it would be very, very beneficial for anybody that benefits from any of these videos to go over and to take that course. So saying that, this is step number 4. If you haven't yet watched the previous videos, I'll put a link to video number 1 in the description below, and I suggest that you actually start with the first video. There is an introduction to who I am, to my journey through life and through depression. There is a video all about the ego, because once we understand what the ego is, the role it plays within our life, and that it is there to benefit us, or it's trying to bring us beneficial, protective elements in our life, then we can use it to our advantage, as opposed to trying to fight against it or run away from it or destroy it, kill it. Ego death. No. Without an egoic sense of self, there is no self. Without an egoic self, you wouldn't know who you were. You would return to being completely united in reality. You'd go back to being the ocean, not a single droplet. To learn in your individual aspect of reality, to learn your own lessons through your own experiences, you need to have a sense of individuality. Otherwise, you wouldn't learn that form of separation and everything that comes with it. Everything we do is to bring all elements of separation back into unity. Unity, one consciousness, is what leads to enlightenment. That's what I do again in the one-on-one work with my clients. I'm an inner completion master. So we go into the darkness, we find parts of the self lost and fragmented there, and integrate them back into the self, back into the whole. That way you're no longer looking outside yourself to complete yourself. You're no longer trying to achieve something material or objective. You no longer need somebody else to make you feel good enough or satisfied or worthy of being. So, learnings, accreditation. Something happens in your life and you have the opportunity to learn and to grow from it. If you choose otherwise, if you choose to ignore it or to brush it away, to run away from it, as many people do, then it will continuously repeat itself until you gain those learnings from it. If you go about trying to achieve the same result, to achieve a different result through the same interaction, through producing the same reaction to certain external situations and conditions, then you're going to only ever create yourself turmoil and suffering. To continue to do the same thing, expecting a different result, is in truth a degree of madness, of insanity. But it's not, to the egoic mind, as the ego likes to say, it understands everything and comes from a place of protection. That which it doesn't understand, it condemns, because it is easier to condemn somebody else's views if you don't understand them than to accept you don't understand them and lower your worth as the ego self. So, allow us to take trust as an example for today. Once upon a time, there was a lady named Janet. She had several friends that she'd grown up with and had very close relationships to. Through Janet's life, through her personal growth and development, after finding meditation and starting to utilize this beautiful skill, this beautiful experience, tool, technique, and it's an experience in truth. Meditation is just another experience to add to the rest. After Janet discovers meditation, she starts to discover inner truths and qualities to herself that she never believed possible prior. She starts to express this truth with those of her friends, in particular Karen. As we all know a Karen. So Karen, first of all, tries to actually tell Janet that she is incorrect, that what she's experiencing is made up, is in her mind, and that she needs to focus on the material, the world around her. She needs to be more serious to ensure that her bills are paid and that she is in a place of safety and protection. She covers herself, she shields herself. And this allows for her ego to become very concrete in its perception and view of reality. Anything which comes inside of that bubble, or tries to come inside, is seen as a threat and treated as such. The way Janet now sees the world is a threat to Karen's perspective and viewpoint of the world. Therefore, she condemns it. Janet decides that she will continue to do what she's doing because it is so beneficial, and it doesn't matter what another person believes or thinks, because this is her life and she lives it accordingly, just as I would suggest that each and every one of you do. If you have a belief, and as long as it is not causing another person harm, if it uplifts you, but means that you become more separated from those around you, then in truth you are still choosing you. Certain beliefs that I hold mean that I now will no longer be interacting with those closest to me in a way that I would have previously done. I could conform to society's rulings and go forth denying my own truth for the benefit of others, but I would then be going against my own truth and I would not be a benefit to anybody. By standing truth in what you believe, you then, whether you can see it in the physical and in this moment of now or not, you are an inspiration to those around you. Whether they agree with you or not, they will see you as an inspiration. They will see you, their ego will see you as a threat because they don't believe themselves capable of standing for their own beliefs despite what another person may view them or decide them to be. And again, what the ego doesn't understand, it condemns. So back to accreditation and learning. Janet, in her discovery of self, actually goes on quite a large journey over a period of time and starts to better herself, starts to educate herself. She ends up taking a chance, taking a risk, and going after that dream job that she's always aspired to experience, to do. Before, she never felt capable of trying anything outside of what her ego felt safe. Once she started to separate from the ego, she started to step outside of the bubble of safety, the bubble of egoic protection, and experience things outside it. Again, I strongly suggest that you go back and watch the video about the ego in this series. I believe it is video number 3 after the introduction of my journey through depression. Upon achieving her dreams, she then decides to move to a beautiful cottage in the countryside. She's still been in contact with Karen, and she has kept in a mutually beneficial relationship together with her, knowing that her boundaries are hers to create and hers to break, and that nobody else, including herself, will do anything other than that which she chooses. Whoa. Okay. So, it comes to moving day. She contacts a removal company. She gets the men in the van to come and package everything up. And she decides to ask Karen for her help in packaging up a few small objects to deliver them in the car, the more personal and meaningful possessions of hers. In the feeling of a non-understanding from an egoic perception. So Karen's ego then feels threatened. It doesn't feel good enough, and it will try to condemn or destroy that which it feels inferior to. Although she doesn't understand, she tries her best to still support her friend. But come the day of the move, Karen's unable to attend. She's unable to support her friend because her ego finds all manner and reasons not to go to help her friend, so she doesn't have to put herself in a situation that makes her feel limited or lacking. To go and help her friend, to go and see her beautiful cottage, to go see the life she's created for herself, having broken free from an egoic trap, an illusional layer of protection. Janet is in the best position she has ever been in life and choosing everything which she experiences. Karen is not. She is coming from a place of fear and lack, being the victim, saying, well, I would be in the same position as Janet, but it's not my fault. It's because I never gained or had the support from my parents that I needed. I never had the support or opportunity to learn and to grow in the way that she did, etc., etc., etc. All these forms of limitation and lack. Karen could learn from this. She could see in her friend the same potential to expand her awareness and to grow outside of that bubble of safety and protection. But she doesn't. She chooses to stay narrow-minded and focus only on what her ego understands and shows her to be true. When we close our eyes, what we are able to view, what we are able to create with our mind's eye is reality. Reality is our perception of it, and in truth is only ever happening within your mind. The past is your memory of an event, which in truth is just energy vibrating at different frequencies. Everything is energy vibrating at different frequencies, and it does so in waveform. It goes up and down. That is why we surf the waves of existence. The future is your forward projection or guess at a future event, looking for potential dangers linked into our fight or flight and our survival as a species, and then your desire to control the outcome, to remove potential dangers. This was a beneficial aspect when there was a potential to be attacked or to not have enough food to sustain ourselves for the winter. We looked to the future and then we acted accordingly now to prepare for that future. When in the current situation we live very much day to day, moment to moment, or it'd be more beneficial if we did to an even greater degree, but we can go to the shops and we can purchase something that we need to sustain our life. We need some food, we go to the shops and buy it. We don't have to go out and hunt and forage for it. There's still a degree of forward projection required, but not to the degree that we are constantly being bombarded with things outside us to keep us anxious, to keep us narrow-minded. It's all part of the system. And again, I strongly suggest that you not only continue to watch this series in completion, going back to the start, but if you have a look on, there's 3 weekly episodes. Monday Mindfulness is Tuesdays, Thursdays is United We Stand, and Saturdays is Together We Rise. Together We Rise, there is a series of videos about anxiety, and I've actually created an anxiety freedom free online course. The 5 Steps to Freedom is an expansive and further course. I would say take the free course first to gain a taster, to allow your ego to feel comfortable and confident in then investing in yourself going forwards. It allows for an understanding and compromise, as every relationship is based and built on compromise. So Janet, although she is upset to start with that her friend has not turned up, she knows that she has not turned up because of her own issues. It is nothing to do with Janet herself, it is all to do with Karen and her projection or her misinterpretation of something happening around her, her inability to be able to see past the ego's form of protection and separation. She knows, more so than ever, because of this situation, that actually everything that takes place is a projection. It's all happening within you, and every time that something takes place, or every time you are affected by something outside of you, every time you're triggered, it is there to show you something within yourself to look at, to address, to be able to then transcend. This event allows for Janet to learn in an even greater and deeper degree of knowledge, of knowing that she creates her own reality, that she creates her own life. She's already put in place the element of being able to move easily with the with the removal firm, the moving company. And she goes about boxing up her small and valuable prized possessions, her objects that are closer to heart, that she will transport herself. And she does so herself. She gets in the car and she drives herself. She doesn't need her friend. It would have been nice to have her friend there to be part of the experience, but she doesn't need anybody other than herself. She learns that she is capable of doing anything and everything, and doing so alone. Just as I am, just as you are. Just because we can do something alone, it doesn't mean that we necessarily actually should. Liken back to the ship. There's a video I did a while ago about friendship. What is a friendship? A friendship is a vessel 2 people build together to float on the seas of life. When the waters are calm, it's easy to stay afloat. It's easy to sit back and to relax and enjoy. When life's waters become more turbulent and more difficult to master, to steer, when the storms of life come along, if we are alone, and especially if we are holding on to weights of the past, likened to putting weights in your pockets, when the storms come along, when those big waves come, they will crash upon you and take you under. If you learn to surf upon the waves, you can stay upon them always, enjoying the ups and the downs equally, without an attachment or desire to experience anything other than you are. The up, the positive, the down, the negative, they're all the same. They're just events. It's just an experience, just the universe experiencing itself through you. To get to a point of surfing the waves in a continual manner takes a lifelong dedication to self and the inner work. Again, I am here to assist you, to direct you, to guide you back to the self. So if you are in a position that you actually want to invest the resources, the time, the dedication required to bring yourself a sense and an embodiment of inner completion, then contact me and we will see where we're guided next. A ship, if built out of mutual love, respect, is like the ship being built out of the same material. Two halves welded together, they will float and they will withstand any storm of life. Doesn't mean that the other person necessarily needs to fully accept or understand, doesn't need to fully understand the other person's perspective, but they need to accept it. As through acceptance then comes love. I accept myself in completion, the good, the bad and the ugly. Therefore I can love myself. Therefore I can accept everybody else, those existing in fear and those existing in freedom, because it's just all part of the same picture. And because I can accept everybody, I can love them equally and unconditionally. If the ship is built out of a difference of opinion, a difference of direction or intended direction, it could be seen as the vessel being built out of two different materials. Bolted together they will float, but the first storm that comes along will surely split them. And if one is trying to go left and one is trying to go right, again it will split. In life we learn that to go with the flow is most beneficial. Just as the wind blows through the trees know not to stay too rigid, or they will snap. They bend and they bow to the will of the wind, just as we must bow to the will of existence. Steer yourself towards the destination of your choice. Steer yourself towards your dreams and go about aligning yourself vibrationally with the conclusion and actual completion of your dreams. Hold for a moment this thought, the image of yourself living your dream life in all ways. Hold that in your mind for 30 seconds as soon as you get up, and then do so for 30 seconds throughout the day. And I guarantee you within 30 days you will be in a place that you did not even believe possible prior to challenging yourself and your beliefs previously. It all starts and ends in the mind, remember? And this moment of now, you watching this video, all I am is energy vibrating at different frequencies, expressing through me universal truths. You are able to see and resonate with me that which is within you. The positives that you are able to experience through me are positives that are within you. It's all about you. It starts and ends with you. It is beneficial to have that ship, to know that there is somebody we can rely on, that we can clamber on board the vessel, knowing that they will steer us true, that they will steer us towards the destination that is most beneficial for us. Not one that they wish to experience themselves, not one that they think is best over that which you have expressed yourself. If they think that to go left is right, but you have quite prominently, and not forcefully, but you have made it very clear that your heart desires to go right. If you can clamber on board that vessel when you need to rest, knowing that they will steer that boat right for you, that's it. That is a true friend. They are a friend unconditionally. Doesn't mean that they agree with you, but they accept you and they will support you nonetheless. Learn from everything that takes place. Next time you're triggered, next time something happens that you perceive as negative, ask yourself, acknowledge it, acknowledge you've been triggered, accept that you've been triggered, and then learn from the triggering with that element of perception and association involved. Association is the first, but learning through both sides is also very beneficial. Accept it's there. Ask why it's there. What can I learn from this? I've become angered because somebody has been aggressive towards somebody else. It actually happened to me today. There was a man, I believe he was Romanian, and he was in the shop. He'd come in the shop a little while before, put his bag down by the entrance, and then gone around the shop, returned to get his bag when he'd gone to leave, and the bag was gone. He then came over and started shouting very, very aggressively in Romanian, I believe, at the staff. So I asked him what was happening, how can I help? But to start with, I became slightly frustrated that this man had the audacity to come over to staff members and shout at them in a manner that they would have no capability of understanding, without any desire to be seen or present himself in a way that would be mutually beneficial. He was angry, so he was projecting his anger outwards. I nearly became triggered, but I stayed in a place of acceptance of the fact that he is an image of anger that is outside me, that is there to test whether I would become triggered or not. I spoke to him and calmed him down, told him that I was sorry that his bag had been taken, but that in future not to leave it on the floor by the entrance to the shop. And that was that. If I had become very much triggered or angered, I would ask myself why. I would say, okay, I'd become angered because he was being rude to somebody else. I don't believe that he should be being rude. Therefore, it is my lack of control over something that is outside me that is frustrating me. I want him to be polite. He's not being polite. Therefore, the reason I'm becoming frustrated is because I don't have any control over that situation. By accepting the fact that he's angry and impolite means that I can accept reality as it is and continue my day nonetheless. It's irrelevant. The way he behaves is irrelevant to me. I would rather nobody experience pain or suffering. But those people that do experience pain and suffering, it's there for their journey, for their learnings, for their growth. And it's not for me to try to deny them that potential learning. It's not for me to take away their ability to grow. Because in doing so, I'm actually hindering not only their growth, but the universe's expansion and continued evolution within the conscious element of self. Learn. From every time that you become triggered, ask yourself why. Look at it through the egoic perception. Look at it as though, why is my ego become triggered? What is it I'm personally attached to here? And then separate from that event, from that situation, likened to literally looking to the sky, closing your eyes and picturing the event from a bird's eye view. Picturing for a moment the person who has come into the situation and caused you to become angered, what life that they are leading, where they have just come from. Maybe they've just had a very traumatic or difficult experience. Maybe somebody has just lost a loved one. And by holding space for them, it allows for us to completely let go of any personal resulted conclusion. Oh, they've angered me, they've disrespected me, how dare they? Well, that's your ego becoming disrespected. The ego feels that it should be treated a certain way because it's the mighty ego again. By accepting somebody is in a place of inner conflict, anytime that they project it outwards, you can fully accept that it's nothing to do with you, it's only ever anything to do with them. Then if you project anger back to them, you mirror that anger back to them, you create between yourselves a build-up of negative energy, and you're also projecting negativity outside of yourself because it is inside wanting to be seen. So any time that you become frustrated, angered, upset, not feel good enough, etc., all these limiting beliefs, anytime you experience any of them, treat it as a gift, because it is there to allow for your learnings and growth through that experience. Look at it through the first person perception and through separating, looking at it from a higher perspective. Next week we will discuss learnings and becoming or remaining the author of your book. Life is a book, a play, a film, a story, a play, a piece of artwork. You are the artwork and you are also the author. You are the main character and you are also the creator. Everything you experience is there for your learnings and your growth. Please be sure that you have subscribed to the channel and actually head over to the Mainstream Meditation channel. Mainstream Meditation is our dedicated meditation channel where we do a weekly guided meditation. This is from a very beginner level, chakra cleansing, very short, beautiful grounding or energizing meditations to very long, in-depth abundance releasing, or a blockage of abundance releasing meditation, inner child integration meditations, meet your spirit guides, meet your doorkeepers, travel to Atlantis, etc., etc. There is a multitude of meditations there, and we deliver a new one every week. If there is any topic of conversation you would like for me to discuss, to cover, please ask, please comment below. And the same with any meditation. If you comment below any form of meditation you would like created, or any form of mindfulness, awareness, mental health, or spiritual context, then comment below and I will create it. So, next week will be the fifth and final step in remaining the author, remaining the creator. And there's a very quick, basic principle to it. Whatever colour you apply to your brush daily is what you will paint the canvas with, what you will then see yourself and experience yourself to be, and what those around you will view you as. If you focus on the negativities, if you focus on the frustrations, the angers, the areas of lack and limitation, etc., you vibrate accordingly. You vibrate at that lack and you attract more of it to you. Likened to placing your brush in red paint every day and then painting the canvas with that red paint. Over time, the build-up of red paint becomes so dominant that it's very difficult to see anything else in you other than that frustration, other than that anger, other than a egoic perception that you are John with depression, or that you are Stephen who is not able to ever discover or meet somebody to have a meaningful relationship with, let's say. Whatever feeling or form of lack and limitation, it all starts from within. If instead you allow yourself to put the brush down, to take a bit of time away, to change your perception or ability to perceive outside of yourself, then you can mindfully choose what colour you apply to your brush and what you paint on your canvas. This is why going away travelling, as an example, is so beneficial, because it allows for you to really break away from an old perception or an old limited viewpoint of reality, and to see something outside of yourself that you would otherwise not be able to see. Imagine back in the day, we only ever lived in one village and had a conversation with the same 30 or 40 people. As the world continues to expand and our potential of connection continues to expand, we can continue to change our lenses of perception. So looking now, the clouds look beautiful, the sky is blue, and I can see the sunlight coming through the trees. If I put these glasses on, because of the lenses in them, it brings to life the different layers and depths in the clouds. Everything becomes more vibrant, more meaningful. It stops looking 3D and almost looks 5D. And that's what we're going for. That 5D image, that 5D perception of reality. 5D and beyond. Again, your interpretation of reality is simply happening within your mind, and it is due to your programs and the layers of separation, the layers of personal perception that they travel through. If an event or a person, so let's say for a moment, just take this as the last thing before I end today's episode. If you live in a bubble of protection and you have so many layers of protection covering so many past traumatic events because you are worried about people seeing you and your weaknesses, as I used to myself. I was 18 stone of muscle and anger because I didn't want anybody to get close enough to see my weaknesses. After taking down my walls of defense, after actually crumbling and falling into darkness, which I explain and express in completion in My Journey Through Depression, the second episode in this series. After taking down all the layers, with each layer that was removed, I could see so much more clearly, so much more vibrantly. I could feel so much more deeply. I could hear so much more crisply. And now all it takes is a single breath in and out to know that that tree is me. That cloud is me. That to try to deny the beautiful clouds is exactly the same as trying to deny the negative ones. negative. The dark clouds bring rain. The light clouds bring joy from an egoic perspective. But without the stormy days in life, without the rain clouds, without the rainy days, we would never see the rainbows of life. Continue to challenge your beliefs. Continue to take down your walls of separation. Continue to look for that which unites you to everybody around you, you to yourself. Anytime you can find something to resonate with somebody, somebody's got anger, somebody's become angered, they've cut you up, they've been rude to you, they desire to be happy. They desire to feel loved. They are acting in their best interest to protect themselves, to gain some form of happiness. They just have a limited perception of how to go about creating this. Everybody, no matter how much of a Karen they may be, no matter how much of a annoyance or limitation that they may present you in life, they are doing the best they can with the information that they have at their disposal. That is why knowledge is power. The more you learn, the more you expand, the more you grow, the more you're capable of achieving. That's it. So, ensure you subscribe to the channel. Go over to the Mainstream Meditation channel and be sure to actually look through the links below, all the links, and go over and listen to the podcast, because the podcast has got a very, very deep and powerful learning in every episode. This week's, I'm not actually sure where we're up to now yet, but there's been some very beautiful meditations included in some of the episodes, talking about love, unconditional love being the answer as always, the dualistic and non-dualistic context of reality, self-belief, how to achieve and actually go about breaking world records. Very, very powerful, very beautiful guests, all very dedicated to their work, externally and internally. Thank you again, as always, for who you are and everything you do. Thank you for continuing to look within, for doing the inner work and investing in you. As you continue to expand your consciousness, your sense of self, you continue to expand the universe itself. As the universe must continue to expand to house your continued expansion of self. Thank you. I look forward to connecting with you again next week for the 5th and final step, before going on to the following week, the subconscious mind and the power of the words that we use. I am being the most powerful words in existence. I am a universal being with unlimited power and knowledge at my disposal. The universe is abundant and I am the universe. By expanding and guiding my all-knowing subconscious mind, I can and will achieve anything I put my mind to. Life is truly a gift, a wonderment, a joy to behold. And I am grateful for every experience that I have ever had and will ever have. Love, light, and infinite blessings. And until next time, Namaste.